Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Ariyantanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Siddhanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Ayaryanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Uvajjayanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Savanam. Omkaram Bindu Sanyuktam Nityam Dhayanti Yoginam Kamadam Moksadam Chaiva Omkaraya Namo Namah. Namah Samay Saraya Svanubhutya Chakasate Chit Sabhavaya Bhavaya Sarva Bhavantarachide Ajnanatimirandhanam Jnana Anjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Tirthankaro Jagatana Jayvantavarto Omkaranada Jinano Jayvantavarto Jinana Samo Sarana Sao Jayvantavarto Netirthachara Jagama Jayvantavarto Ananta Ananta Bhava Bheda Bareli Bali Ananta Ananta Naya Niksepe Vyakhani Che Sakala Jagata Hita Karini Harini Moha Tarini Bhavabdi Moksha Charini Pramani Che Upama Apyani Jene Tamara Kavite Vyartha Apavati nijamati mapai me mani che aho raja chandra bala khala nathi pamatai jine swaratani vani jani teni jani che guru rajatani vani jani teni jani che Om Namah Siddhebhyo Om Namah Siddhebhyo Om Sri Sudatmane Namaha. Jai Jinendra. Um, Today is July 20, 2020, Monday, and we are continuing our discussion on Atmasiddhi Shastra. We are halfway, or maybe more than halfway, in stanza 4. And stanza 4 describes beautifully about nature of the blind ritualist. Who is blind ritualist? What does he do? And how to recognize him? It's not how to recognize him. Am I the blind ritualist? I had to look at it within me. I'm not here to say you are blind ritualist, he is blind ritualist, they are blind ritualist. Am I one of them? So it is talking about me rather than somebody else. So Srimadji, initially he describes these two kind of living beings, blind ritualist and one with a dry knowledge. So in this stanza, he's describing about blind ritualist. What's his nature? How can we recognize? How can I recognize those faults within me? And how can I improve? So that's what he's trying to tell us. So without further delay, I'll bring the slide and we'll continue from wherever we were left out last time. So last time we were on this slide and we just had started, but time ran out, so we did not complete. So blind ritualist does not understand the real nature of the soul and the bondage. Previous slide, we had talked about soul and the bondage. Here is a soul. Soul by itself can go into innate state or can go into deluding state. By itself, soul decides. He decides whether I want to be in a deluding state, altered state, or the true state. And when soul is in the altered state, there is an instrumental cause of fruition of karma and also bondage of new karma. They are sitting there. So these two blue guys, They are the result of this altered state occurring in the soul. So I am the problem. I can't say that karma fruition is a problem for me. Karma fruition simply reflects what is happening within me. That's all it does. Just like the thermostat in the house just reflects how I feel comfortably or not. If I'm comfortable, thermostat will show 75 degree. If I'm extremely hot, perspiring, thermostat will show 90 degree. If I'm extremely shivery, cold, and etc., thermostat will show 60 degree. Thermostat is doing nothing except indicator of how I feel. Karma state, fruition or bondage of karma, they're simply indicator what is happening within me. So I am the culprit, I am the problem. So the blind ritualist does not understand real nature of soul and bondage. They are separate from each other, but he mixes them up, does not know that soul is embodiment of knowledge and bliss and forever pure, passionless with primary abstract comprehension. These are the nature of the soul, and one is not aware of this situation. He does not know that I don't know that I'm full of tons and tons of knowledge within me. I could be expert in the rocket science. I could be expert in chemistry, physics, and whatever field. But that is not the knowledge we are talking here. Knowledge of the self is very important. If I don't have the knowledge of the self, everything else I know is useless. If you have the knowledge of the self, then literature says that you know the whole universe. Huh? Simply by having knowledge of myself, that means I know whole universe. That's what Kunkun Acharya Dev says in Samasar, stanza 9 and 10. You can have the reference, you can read that one. The omniscience Lord, like Mahavir Swami, at age 42 obtained omniscience knowledge. And now in that omniscience knowledge, he can know the entire universe, past, present, future, and he also can know himself completely. Now, simply knowing universe is not important, but knowing the self is primary event, and secondary thing is a knowledge of the universe. Similarly, if I don't know myself, who am I, then I can't say what about the worldly objects. When I'm looking at that Kohinoor diamond in the London Museum, most expensive diamond, is that expensive diamond more important, or the eye the eye watching the diamond is more important? If there is no knowledge, eyes means the knowing activity. If there is no knowing going on, then that diamond has no value. Who creates the value? The knowledge creates the value. So I'm the embodiment of knowledge. I have full, complete knowledge within me. Only the thing, I have to look for it. I have to, I have to search within, and I can enjoy that knowledge. You have the unlimited source of water in your place. Only the thing, you have to dig it. You dig it, You put your personal effort, go down, and you have unlimited source of water that you can have it. Similarly here, you have embodiment of knowledge. You look at it, you put personal effort, you wake up this knowledge, you manifest this knowledge, and you are the God. That's why Gurudev Kanji Swami said, Tu Bhagwan Chem Nakki Kar. Decide that you are the Bhagwan. Am I Bhagwan? Who can tell me that I am a Bhagwan? Only my Sadguru can tell me I am a Bhagwan. Because I have as much capacity as Siddha Bhagwan. Siddha Bhagwan has expressed that capacity, and I have that capacity hidden within me. I have $1,000,000 sitting in the bank and I'm unaware of it. And I am looking around work for $5 and $10 and here and there and all kind of crazy thing I'm doing it just to get few dollars so that I can fill my tummy with the food. But I'm unaware of it that I have $1,000,000 sitting in a bank. Here in this bank, million is not it's a puny word. Infinite attributes are residing within me. I have to look for it. So that's an embodiment of knowledge. And that knowledge also associated with the bliss. Supersensuous bliss. I am a pure forever and there is no evidence of any inclination of attachment and aversion within me. And I am with a primary abstract comprehension means I can experience my soul in an undivided fashion. This is my nature, and I'm not aware of that situation. Krupaladev, he has a pity on us that I am the full of all this situation, and I'm not aware of myself. Does not discriminate with the innate and deluding state, swa or par bhav. And all the alien objects, this is my phone. What do you mean by my phone? 30 years back, there was no phones. Cell phones, smartphones. And you lived. 100 years back, there was no communication of devices available. People lived. Not only lived, but happily they lived. So, you have to understand who am I and what is my deluding state. You have to have that knowledge. You can't just simply start doing blind rituals. Does not know that one is censorable and other is wholesome. In this innate state, it's a wholesome state for me. This innate state is a wholesome state for me. Wholesome. And this deluding state is a censurable state for me. I have to know all these things. If I don't know, nothing wrong. I'm in transmigration forever and I'll continue that forever. There's no loss. But by understanding simple thing, one has nothing but gain. Tremendous gain one can get it. So we have to keep that attitude. Ignorant soul does not have such discrimination of censorable or wholesome thing. Does not realize that his own personal effort, he can get out of shackles of bondage. I have bondage from since time infinite. I want to get out of it. I'm in the darkness of ignorance within me. I want to remove ignorance. I want to remove darkness. I want to remove darkness. My attention, entire attention of existence so far is to remove this darkness of ignorance. So my attention is to the darkness side. But Acharya Bhagavan is giving us the another view and says, don't worry how deep and dark or intense darkness, for how long you have it, don't worry about it. Just simply don't worry. Think about how to put light of knowledge. As soon as light of knowledge is ignited, then darkness of infinite time disappears in a second. So change your attitude. People go and just say how to control anger, and they go for those seminars. They pay thousands of bucks for that. Here it says you don't have to worry about how angry person you are, how how much downside you have it within you. Don't worry. Just ignite the knowledge, light of knowledge, and all this darkness will disappear. He wrongly believes that external blind rituals is a path to liberation. This is the wrong bit. He means, who is that he? Me. It's me. Acharya Bhagavan is talking about me. We do believe that blind rituals will take to the path of liberation. Wrong. Entirely wrong. The very first step towards spirituality is a wrong step, and everything else will be wrong thereafter. 2 times 2 equals to 4. Instead of that, I wrote down 2 times 2 equals to 5. And now I did all the further calculation down below, maybe 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 steps. The very first step is wrong. Everything else will be wrong no matter how many steps you're putting there. So this is the very first step. 2 plus 2 is 5. That kind of thing, that I just believe that external blind rituals is a path to liberation. And society promotes that issue. Next month, Paryushan will be there, and after Paryushan is completed, oh my God, such and such did 8 days of fasting, and let's do the absolute amount of appreciation of that. Why? That means you are increasing the ego for that person. 8 days of fasting he did, and now he is on the top of the ego. He's on the top of the society. He's the greatest guy. Simply he did not take 8 days of food, that's why. But you understand that why he did not do it, what's the reason for it, and if it is done with the proper understanding, then it's good. But blind rituals is not path to the liberation. Antarbhed, now the Bahya Kriyama Rajta, that was the first part. Antarbhed, that's the next line coming. Antarbhed. Antarbhed means discrimination from within. What does that word mean? To understand difference between soul and non-soul is a discriminative science. To understand soul and non-soul. So now, first I have to understand what is soul, and then what's a non-soul. I have to have proper understanding of those two entities also to start with. If I don't know what's a constitution of the soul, what's the anatomy and physiology of the soul, if I don't know that part, then I can't understand what non-soul means. In medical science, the first 2 years are being taught about anatomy and physiology of the body only, and thereafter anything altered from normal anatomy and physiology is called disease state. So anything away from this soul state is called disease state for the soul. So first I have to understand about what soul is, and then what is non-soul. I have to know those kind of things. That's called discrimination from within. If I'm simply going to buy a shirt, I discriminate. Oh, this is this kind, this is that kind, and I will really, really work hard to get best what I wanted. In those things, I'm expert. Buying the house, what's the best house I can afford, and where can I buy it, and this and that. I'm expert in those discrimination. But when I come in from within me, I'm just becoming totally ignorant. I freeze down. I'm freezing there. I just don't do any extra effort. With proper faith, if the auspicious inclinations are performed, then he may get bondage of auspicious karma. When he keeps on saying, do the blind ritual, do the blind ritual, do the blind ritual. Before coming to US, I used to do general medical practice in India at age 23, 24, whatever that age was. And one day they called me at 10, 11 o'clock night that come and visit one of the patients. We used to do the visiting the patient at their home. I go there and there are so many relatives are sitting there, and there is a bed in the center, and I can't see anybody in that bed. I said, why did you call me? They say, patient. So where's the patient? There's a teeny tiny girl lying on that bed that you can't even see her. 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old girl. So thin and emaciated. What's wrong? Well, she wants to do 8 days of fasting. Today is 6th day and she cannot control her hunger. And we would like to make sure she completes 8 days of fasting. This girl is crying for the food to give me some. And they say, no, you can't have it. You have to finish your 8 days of fasting. Every second that girl is thinking about food. They're asking me, give some vitamin injections, or can you start intravenous glucose on her? So are you guys nuts? That poor girl is opening her mouth, give some food to her. Don't kill her by keeping her hungry. But blind rituals, 8 days of fasting, that means it goes on her CV, and that means she gets a better place for her marriage. Come on. Is this the way you are doing that 8 days of fasting? You have no clue, no understanding why you are doing that one. So if you do with a proper understanding, proper faith and understanding, and some auspicious inclination in the form of maybe some rituals, then at the most you may get auspicious karma bondage. Okay, all right. So what? Auspicious karma bondage. So what happens when the fruition of those bonded karma comes? Then you get something associative, associative things you can get it. Favorable associative things you can get in the future. Maybe good health, more money, good family, good job, etc., etc., etc. So only for those things am I doing auspicious inclination, so that I can get better job, good health, better family, and all those things. Because those karma will come in fruition, and once they come in fruition, they disappear. So now I'm back to square one again. Like proper faith to have the auspicious inclination means it's just like having money in your pocket right now, and auspicious karma fruition, that means you can spend those money. But then what? Remember, in all the discussion, I'm not saying, and Acharya Bhagavan doesn't say, and Srimadji doesn't say, that don't do auspicious inclination, don't do auspicious activity. He doesn't say that. We did not say that. But to believe that such type of auspicious inclinations are beneficial to me, that's wrong. That belief needs to be broken down over here in the psyche. You can do only two things, auspicious and inauspicious, in the transmigratory soul. And if I said don't do auspicious, means do I say that go and do inauspicious thing? No, nobody will say that. You do auspicious things, the charity, donation, compassion, fasting, austerity, going to temple, worshipping the Lord, doing abhishek and puja, etc., etc. Those are good things to do, but do not take undue credit for that. Hey, look at that! You know, I went to the temple today, so that's good. So you went today, so it's good. What a big deal! Temple is there, you are there, so you are supposed to go there. There is nothing that you have to take pride about it. Don't have the ego for such type of things. I did 8 days of fasting. Okay, good. Very nice. Did you do Swadhay during that 8 days of fasting, or 1 day of fasting, or whatever? If you did, then it's very good. Nothing to brag about. Without knowledge and faith of the soul, all extra activities are detrimental to the soul. You don't have you don't have knowledge of and faith of the soul. What's the nature of the soul you don't understand. Now, what is understanding means? To understand and to experience. That means now your knowledge and faith, and then whatever activity you do, they are helpful to the soul. But without understanding, if you do activities, they detrimental to the soul. He ends up with a binding infinite bonding karma. When he has no faith and knowledge of the soul, and he's doing external positive activities, then he just simply binds infinite bonding karma. Means those karma will come in fruition for infinite time in the future. External conduct, less or more, external conduct, less or more knowledge cannot be the yardstick of the enlightened one. The enlightened one, the one who has samyak darshan, one who has a self-realization, one who has a atma anubhuti, that person cannot be having the yardstick that how much he knows and what is his external conduct. Person with this right faith, person with the samyak darshan, he could be running the household, he could be doing the business. You cannot just discriminate. You cannot just say, oh yeah, is this the guy you are telling that he's a samyak darshan and he's doing business? He's raising family and everything? Yes. So it is these things are not the yardstick for enlightened one. This enlightened one yardstick is sitting inside, and only the way you can find it out, if you are eligible soul, then you find it out who has that enlightened state. A child is given some shining rock type of thing, and there are birds on his backyard, so he's throwing those shining stuff towards those birds, so birds can fly away. Actually, in actuality, they were the real diamonds. But he has no knowledge about the real diamond. So he's just throwing it away. So one has to have proper understanding of himself. He has to be eligible to receive Samyak Darshan. Then he has a capacity to say, okay, this guy has Samyak Darshan, this guy has Samyak Darshan, this guy has Samyak Darshan, like that. With having external conduct, he believes himself to be great. External activities are the reason for him to be religious one. This is his ignorance. So these are this problem here. Now, very important slide coming. Pay attention, please. Reason for karma bondage. There are 5 reasons for karma bondage. 5 reasons for karma bondage. I'll give you a name. Maybe next week I'll ask you. You have to be alert to realize this one, to remember this one. 5 reasons for karma bond. Does anybody know it, Gujarati or English name or anything? Does anybody wants to try? Unmute yourself and try it, please, if you know it. You know it. If I just say, you'll just, oh, I was aware of it. Somebody wants to try? Anybody wants to try? Okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. 5 reasons of karma. Gujarati name. Mithyatva, Avirati, Pramad, Kashay, Yog. Mithyatva, Avirati, Pramad, Kashay, Yog. Wrong faith, vowlessness, carelessness, toxic emotions, and Yog. 5 reasons for karma bondage. So we are going to look at it right now and see what they mean. Now, the 5 have to be in that order also. Mithyatva, Avirati, Pramad, Kasha, Yog. Mithyatva, Avirati, Pramad, Kasha, Yog. Wrong belief, vowlessness, carelessness, toxic emotion, Yog. It has to be in that order only, because when there is karma bondage occurs with the wrong faith, let's presume this is kind of assumption, this is kind of driving the point, this is not exact numbers, we are throwing some numbers just so that I can understand better in my mind importance of each one. So wrong belief, for example, is a reason for bonding 99,999 karma. I have a wrong belief, so 99,999 karma units are bonded. With vowlessness, I bind only 9,999 karma unit. So there are 5 nines, there are 4 nines right now. Vowlessness. Carelessness, only 3 nines, 999. Toxic emotions, only 2, 99. And Yog is only number 9, 1 9. Look at it. Now you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that if these are the reasons for my karma bondage, and I'm ready now to tackle this issue of karma bondage, where is my priority? Which one I'm going to tackle first? This guy or that guy? You have finite energy and you have to obtain infinite things. So with that finite energy, where will you have one gun in your one bullet in your pistol. Where will you direct that bullet right now? Which one do you want to remove? This guy or this guy? It doesn't need any explanation. That my priority, my primary aim is to how can I remove this guy first? Wrong belief. What's the wrong belief? What wrong belief do I have it? I believe in Mahavir. I go to temple. I go to temple in permission time, I do some austerity, fasting, etc., etc., and I read books and everything. Where is my wrong belief? Tell me, where is my wrong belief here? Your wrong belief, not your, my wrong belief. This body is mine, body is mine. That kind of belief I have since time infinite, and every moment, every summit, that belief continues. That's my wrong belief. Even when I'm sleeping on one side, I have to change my side to the second side. Why? Because quote unquote, my body is tired sleeping this side. So now I have to go on the other side. Even in a sleep, this is my body, this is my body. It's too cold, I need to have blanket. It's too warm, I need to take the blanket out. Because who is feeling cold and warm and everything? Body. But I am feeling cold, I am feeling hot. So that's what my wrong belief is there. Yoga means mind, speech, and body activity. Mind, speech, and body activity, and mainly body activity. If we talk about, I did fasting, etc., etc., whatever things. Mind, speech, and body. Speech. I'm going to take a mount for today. Vow of silence for next 12 hours, 24 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever, whatever, whatever. Mind, I'm doing meditation, I'm sitting in a corner and I'm the soul, I'm the soul, I'm the soul, I'm the soul, I'm the soul. That's all I think about it. Mind, speech, and body activity I'm doing. How many karma unit am I tackling over here? This guy is still standing. So my primary aim has to tackle this guy very first, and all my effort should be directed here. Not necessarily that I don't have to do all other things, but my primary aim has to be here. So do I have that understanding? Do I act accordingly? And these are the things that we will know all these things as we start gathering more knowledge. Granted, this knowledge that you are getting, maybe tomorrow you may forget, but that is not for forgetting this thing. This needs to be thought about, ponder on, and think about it, meditate upon it, and try to say, these are the guy I want to remove first. This guy also I will do, but my primary aim is over here. If I do this way, at least I have a first right step towards getting Samyak Darshan. In a Moksha Prakashak in 7th chapter, Pandit Toramalji has said, Samyak Sanmukh Mithya Drashti. If somebody is interested, then Moksha Prakashak is available also in the English, word to word English translation, and an absolutely great translation. It's online, Moksha Prakashak. vitragvani.com, you can go and you can get it. Atmadharma.com and you can get it. If you just say, I have all these books are in Gujarati, Hindi, I don't understand, you have no excuse. Things are available. You have to put your effort. So now that we know karma bondage, we know what to do. Then third one, Bhaya Kriyamata Antarbhed ka nai. That's what we talk about Antarbhed right now. Jnana Marg Nishedata. There's a third chapter. There's a third point in this stanza. Jnana Marg Nishedata means one who is ignoring the path to the knowledge. Jnana Marg means knowledge path. Nishedata means ignoring. And then te kriya jal ahi means they are called a blind ritualists. The third point is important too. Knowledge path is path to liberation. Why? Just because we said so? You have to raise the question, why knowledge path is path to liberation? What's the reason? Because knowledge is an extraordinary attribute within you, within any living being. And that knowledge has so much capacity, it does two important work, knowing self and knowing alien objects of the universe. Both the work that knowledge does at the same time. So when I know self-knowing knowledge and alien knowing knowledge, when I know that way, now I know who am I and who is non-soul, soul and non-soul, and now I just do discrimination between those two, and that's a path to liberation. In short, we gave that explanation, but that knowledge to talk about, it will take several classes practically. Don't get scared. We'll make it very easy to understand. We'll give you we'll put forward the bitter medicine with a little sugary sweetness with that. But we will have to know all these things. Ignorant soul condemns that knowledge to the path. This is too difficult. This is too abstract. This is very confusing, and I have no part of it. Acharya Bhagavan says, it's okay. We just present the fact to you. You don't want to listen, it's your problem. You don't want to follow, it's your problem. Since time infinite you are transmigrating, you'll continue that. But we have compassionate feeling. That's what Acharya Bhagavan says. That's what Srimadji says, that we want to put forward something which is right for you. If you accept it, you will get a blissful state. If you don't get it, you will get a perplexity with transmigration. We have nothing to lose or gain. Ignorant soul says, your whole day you keep on saying Atma, 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 nothing is happening. You just stop talking Atma, Atma, Atma and do something. What do I have to do it? He said, therefore one has to do rituals. Just simply speaking Atma, Atma doesn't mean anything. You have to do the rituals. If you don't do rituals, you are not Jains. That's what extreme people will go. He says, get out of the bothersome knowledge aspect. This knowledge, you have made it so complicated. It is bothersome and we don't want to have any part of it. Rather than that, I'll take one ekasan or upas or partial fasting, or what is the new trend, 16-hour fast? Jains are telling for last 2,500 years. And now you find out the old wine in new bottle, new fancy name, 16-hour fast. But Jainism already said you can do fasting, you can purify yourself. So what a big deal, what a new thing you found out. In this pattern, the ignorant soul opposes knowledge pathway. He says, true, first thing, he doesn't want to know it. Second thing, when he tries to know, he gets confused and he doesn't want to express his confusion. So he just neglects this knowledge path and he says, forget it, let's do some rituals and get it over with. The one who is doing the right comparison has to decide that whatever the nature of the soul he has presumed so far is not true. He has to accept, he has to start with a clean slate and say, okay, whatever I knew so far was wrong. Let me try to understand what is right thing. if you have that kind of inquisitiveness, that kind of a humility within us, then we are ready to accept this knowledge and we'll understand who am I. And then all the rituals will become meaningful. Each and every rituals, I can talk to you and I can say, what is the reason behind those rituals? And you'll be very happy to know those kind of things. Every rituals are created not just to make your life miserable or anything, the meaning to that one. Simply taking samayik for 48 minutes, let's presume. Well, I'm doing samayik for 48 minutes, so 48 minutes. So, what is this samayik? You take samayik and sit down for 48 minutes, and now you have your cell phone and start watching all your WhatsApp and everything. Could that be samayik? No. Samayik means the Muniraj on 6th and 7th spiritual development state, Chattu Gunsthanak, Satmak Gunsthanak, 7th spiritual development state, when he is engrossed in his own soul. 6th, he is out of engrossment. 7th, he is engrossment into the soul. 6th, he comes out. 7th, he goes back. 6th and 7th, 6th and 7th. Throughout the day, he does that for innumerable times. And each time he's on 7th, he stays a little bit longer, little bit longer, little bit longer, little bit longer. And a point comes when he is staying in his natural state, innate state for 48 minutes non-stop. Then he goes to 13th spiritual development state called Keval Jnana. So Muniraj, when he is engrossed in his state for non-stop 48 minutes, he obtains Keval Jnana. To Mahavir, to obtain that state, it took 12 and a half years of meditation. To Rishabdev, it took 1,000 years. To Malinath, it took 1 day. So there is no rhyme or reason, there is no fixed time. But for me, maybe if Mahavir took 12 and a half years, it will take some time for me. I have to have that patience. So that samayik when I'm doing, I'm imitating about Muniraj going into the innate state for 48 minutes. Now you may say, oh yeah. Listen, when you went to the school, each school period was 45 minutes, right? Why? Because after 45, your concentration can remain up to 45, 48 minutes. So those are the things that rituals like that, they make sense. It's not blind ritual that you have to do the samayik and that's it, and if you don't do it, you are not Jains. Nature of the soul needs to be determined by scriptural, means agam, logic means nyay, proper argument, yukti, and self-experiencing. So nature of soul, this is the, I think, 4th or 5th stanza of Samesa, that the soul needs to be realized by scripture, by logic, by proper argument, and by self-experiencing. You read the scripture, you analyze the scripture, because those are the saints, those are the naked saints, that they were princes, prince in the life and a princely life they had it. They gave up everything. They became naked monk, no possessions of any kind at all. And they wrote those scripture with their experience. So those scripture, when I read, I get the directions what to do. Then when you put logic, logic means what? Logic means if I'm seeing a smoke on a hill, That means I put the logic that there should be fire present. This is just general assumption. Smoke was seen behind the hill, that means fire has to be present. When I'm seeing consciousness in somebody, any creature, any substance in the universe has a consciousness or having rag or dvesh, that means I can have logic that a pure eternal soul has to be present there. So that's called logic. Proper argument, you understand something, you read something, now you ask question, you raise the question, you try to get the answer, and if you have proper questions, you have 100% answer to those questions. And ultimately, self-experiencing, that will give you the nature of the soul that you will understand. For having the faith to the truth, the path of knowledge is misused. For having faith to the truth, what the hell is over here? There is some mistake is there in this bullet. Yeah. Oh yes, must. Yeah. It's the I is extra. Let me take it out for a second. I'm sorry. For having now, I have faith to my body. I just said this is my body is me. My body, I am the body. I am the body. That kind of faith I have, and body is a matter object, means it's a material object, and I'm the conscious nature. Conscious natured soul has put the ownership on this material object. He believes that body is mine. He believes just like that dog walking under the cart, thinking that cart is moving because of him walking underneath. Same way, I had the faith that my body is mine, but I had to change that faith. So for changing the faith, I had to have knowledge is a must. I have to have proper knowledge to start with. If I don't know the knowledge, how can I have faith? If this glass of water has a poison inside, that knowledge I came to know right now, do I have a faith to drink that water right now? If I know that that water has a poison inside, will I ever drink that water? Will I have a faith on that water? Knowledge is must. If you want to have faith, then knowledge is very important. Faith in medical science, because I have knowledge about medical science. I can't have a blind faith. Nowadays, I'm scared to open WhatsApp because every day there is a new knowledge comes up about coronavirus. And if I start following all those things, I will go nuts. One says drink lots of water, other says don't drink water. One says eat more, other says eat less. I mean, it will be blind. There is a blind faith I'm putting on. But if I have proper understanding, knowledge, then I have proper faith. Blind ritualist opposes the path to knowledge, so he just doesn't want to get a faith also. He does not realize that the knowledge path is a path to liberation. Samyak darshan jnan charitrani hi mokshamargaha tattvat sutra, first chapter, first sutra. It says knowledge is very important. Faith is knowledge is important. If you have knowledge, then you have faith, and if you have knowledge and faith, then conduct will follow, and that's a path to liberation. Worshipping state cannot be obtained by ignorant state. What is the worshipping? Real worshipping. If I know the real nature of the soul, When I say Namo Aryantanam, what does it mean? I'm in the temple, I'm looking at Bhagwan's statue, and I say Namo Aryantanam. What does it mean? I bow to Aryan. So, what is Aryan? Then I have to know the nature of Aryan. In Moksha Prakashak, first chapter, there is it just says Aryan Swarup, nature of omniscience. There were 23 or 24 points are there about this nature of law or Aryan. When I'm in front of the Bhagwan statue and I'm just saying Namo Aryantam, I have to have those points in my mind that what is the real nature of Aryan. I have to know that part. Therefore, he remains away from the ultimate truth, and knowledge path is the highest reality, pure, sacred, faultless, and extremely useful to the living being. When this blind ritualist is away from the knowledge, he's been said, don't go away. This is the pathway. This is a pathway you can walk on it, and you'll become successful person. Successful in terms of understanding the soul. Such great path is negated by ignorant soul. As ignorant soul, he believes that such path is most difficult to obtain. He believes that this path is difficult, and on top of it, there are people who will, their so-called guru will give the lecture saying that have a faith, have a bhakti, have a devotion, and everything. And there is no need for knowledge because knowledge is difficult. Knowledge is it's a path full of thorns and everything. Knowledge, if you fall down, you go, all kind of crazy things they talk about. To go within myself, they are saying, don't go. Do this devotional bhakti and everything. Why will you do that? Could I consider them as a true guru for me? True guru is the one who shows me the right path, not the path that telling that don't do this, because it's difficult path. What is difficult? When you don't want to follow, then everything is difficult. When you want to achieve something, nothing is difficult. We'll find a way. So make sure that you do not ignore the knowledge path. Knowledge path is must. Now, remaining 1 or 2 slides are there. So if you don't mind hanging around for a minute or two, please bear with me. Srimadji has said in later 422, JG, there is a whole thing is there over here, but mainly what he says that those people who are in blind ritualistic, they do not understand the nature of the knowledge, etc. And that's why they fall down and they go in the infinite transmigration. In summary, this stanza says, this stanza 4, in summary, last slide, nature of the blind ritualist is shown. Now that we know what a blind ritualist means, also discourses are given on how to remove. He simply did not show the nature of blind ritual, but also says how to remove those blind ritualist nature. It says that external blind rituals can never give liberation. Even the lineage means parampara also there is no liberation. Means there somebody says, well, you know, you do lots and lots of rituals and everything. So now next life will be better life. And in the better life, you can do more of the spirituality. Then you realize your soul. And that way you can go for liberation. Wait, what did you say? Do the rituals now so that next life you can just go on the knowledge path and obtain samyak darshan, etc., etc. What's wrong going right now? What's wrong getting the right knowledge right now. I'm a five sense sentient human being. That's one of the best life I have ever obtained. And in this life, I can continue to understand the nature of the soul. And if I continue my quest, and if my life comes to an end, I will continue the same thing in the next life also. So, if I just continue rituals, there is no liberation, in the further lineage also there is no liberation. I have to work today, now, in this life. There's no better life than this. When one wakes up internally, then he ends up with the right knowledge, which ultimately leads to the liberation. So, in this 2 lines of stanza, Srimadji has given tremendous amount of knowledge to all of us. What to expect, what to do, how to obtain, and all those things. So here we will stop. I think that was the last slide. Yeah. Any questions? If you have it, we can entertain the questions. You can unmute yourself.
Jai Jinendra Uncle, this is Nimisha. I had a question. When you use the word discriminative science, is the Gujarati equivalent Vivek?
Ved Gnan.
Nan, it's not Vivek. Vivek is something different.
Vivek is kind of for, in the sense, two different objects of the universe right now. Let's say two things are there. Then you decide what is right and what is not right. That or what is better and what is not better. That you can say Vivek, for example. But over here, the Vedna and Vivek also will come between the discrimination between the soul and non-soul. But ultimately, when you go detail about Vivek, when you go further down, then Ved Gnan comes in picture. Discriminative science, soul from non-soul entity. And that one is itself is a whole class or two classes practically, But in between we'll start describing those kind of things. So that's called Vedna, right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any question? Okay.
Sejinendra, one question.
Yes, sir.
I mean, slightly off topic, but we have seen in all our scriptures, right? Like be it Chadala or Mokshmarg, Prakashak, everywhere, and then even Srimad Rajchandraji, right? It has always come that they had a pity towards other Jews. And because of that, they wanted to, provide them with the preachings or, everything about what's the real purpose of the life and everything, right? Now, I mean, I understand there is a pity there on other Jews, but even by showing pity, there is also, for them also the rag is getting added, right?
Yes, definitely.
But how is that not impacting them as compared to, like, when we have pity towards others?
Yes. Compassion, we are talking compassion, and that's a kind of a very basic word for Jainism. Compassion towards all the living being. Now, remember, one who has samyak darshan, one who has realized his own self, and as we say, as Srimadji or Gurudev Sikanji Swami or Kunkun Acharya Dev, and so on and so forth. This kind of souls, they have realized their soul. They have experienced that soul substance, but that experience remains transient. And then they come out because they still have some of the karma present. They still have impurity present within them. If we just go through the Mohniya karma, that 28 subtypes are there, out of which only 7 subtypes are gone in Samyak Darshan. 21 subtypes are still there. And accordingly, there is also presence of rag and dvesh for those kind of samyak drashti jeev, those kind of self-realized souls. They still have auspicious, inauspicious inclination. They want to stay away from the inauspicious inclination, so they will take the support of the auspicious inclination. And in that one, they may have a thought of compassion. They are aware of it, that this compassion shown towards the other living being is not my true nature, but it's my instability nature. My real nature is to be stabilized within my innate state, but I still don't have enough personal effort, enough purusharth. That's why I'm in this altered state. And in that altered state, he just gives his experience, whatever experience he has it. So maybe some other living being can benefit. That is there. That is only the motive behind. They don't want any name and fame and everything like that. If that was the case, that Srimadji should have continued that Satavdan, and he would have gone absolute publicity throughout the world. But he realized that, this Satavdan knowledge that I'm getting is going to be obstructing to my further progress of spirituality. He gave up that particular day right away. Similarly, when they realize and when they inner strength, then they give up all those things. So yes, they have the karma bondage also, but they are aware of it. And that karma bondage compared to what we have it is so minuscule that in the literature it says that they don't have karma bondage. Just like you may have $1 million in your pocket, I have $5 only, and compared to your $1 million, my $5 is, that means I'm a poorest of the poor. But I want to eat, I'm hungry, that $5 will give me sandwich that I can eat and fill my stomach. But that $5 means the karma bondage is so minuscule for those souls. Remember that slide we saw, 99,999. Once that wrong faith goes away, then rest of the karma bondage are very minuscule in nature. So yes, they have it, they are aware of it, but they know that it is their weakness, that they don't have enough personal effort. Thank God that Kunkunacharya Dev had those kind of reflective thought because that he wrote down Samasa. So we are fortunate that Kunkunacharya Dev got that idea, that auspicious inclination. So that's why we are talking all those things today here.
Got it. Very nice. Thank you.
Any other questions? Your question, Gitaben?
Yeah, મને એમ પૂછ્યું હતું કે મને હવે તમારા ક્લાસ લેવા છે, આજથી મેં શરૂ કર્યું છે અને મને કન્ટિન્યુઅસ કરવું છે, પણ હું ક્યાં લિંક ક્યાં કરું?
I'll talk to you afterward, after class is over.
All right, thank you.
I'll call you back. Yeah, good. All right.
બહુ મજા આવે છે.
Good. Yeah, that's good. I also enjoy it too, that's nice. All right. Any other questions, anybody? Okay. All right. Now then we are going to closing, okay?
જય પ્રભુ.
Yeah. Je swarup samajya vina pamyo dukha anand samajavyo te pad namo Sri Sadguru Bhagavan Parama Purusha Prabhu Sadguru Parama Jnana Sukhadam Jene Atmani Tene Sada Pranam Deha Chata Jeni Dasha Varate Dehati Tignani Nacharama Vandana Agani Javani ke ज्ञान से सुजलो कालो सोवाणी मस्तक नमो सदा देत हूँ. जय जिनेन्द्र. जय जिनेन्द्र.
Jai
Jai Jinendra, uncle. Thank you.
Jai Jinendra, Uncle.
Thanks, Peter. Bye.
Bye.